Good evening. Welcome to Vibin with Ashley Live. I'm your host, Ashley Live, and tonight is episode 161. My guest this evening is the incredibly talented singer, songwriter, and bassist Ruby Dice from Austin, Texas. Ruby has an electrifying stage presence, and her music is a mix of soul, country, rock, blues. It's amazing. Ruby's recent single, Can't Behave, was released April 1st, and Ruby is in the house. So Ruby, whenever you're ready, come on in and let's get this interview started. Hello, guys. Thanks for joining this evening. Who in the house is representing Austin, Texas? Austin is where it's at. The music is good. The food is good. Everything. I love everything about Austin. Hi, Ruby.
Hello.
How are
Hi there.
you?
I'm good. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. Thank you so much for joining me this evening and coming on my show.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
Of course, of course. So I just want to hop right into it and talk about how you first started in music. So let's go back to those formative years during your childhood. What was music like in the childhood?
You know, my whole family played. So they all kind of like, family reunions consisted of us sitting around and like playing musical chairs and seeing what sounded good on everybody. And
Yeah.
so I feel like I kind of cheated on that front of things where I was just surrounded by instruments from birth. But I started playing flute. Like that was like my first instrument I really studied in school, just like fifth grade on. I did the whole like marching band thing with that. And then I started playing bass after my sister quit in the church that she was playing in, and there wasn't many musicians in the church, so the preacher came up to me one day. I thought it was the dumbest thing, but my mom was like, "You should probably do it. It's for God." And he handed me a bass, and he was like, "Well, you're a Darnell, so you're probably the next one that should probably play bass since your sister moved." So that's how I started playing bass, and it just kind of progressed from there. I started playing with college bands, and moved to Austin actually with a college band. That's kind of how I came to town here, and that fizzled out after a while. One of them went, and he's a doctor now, so yeah. That's how I got to Austin. Once I got here, I just kind of started playing bass with everybody and anybody after that band fizzled out, and that's how I met you had Jordan on here a few
Yes.
weeks ago, I think you said, and no, he's fantastic. I play bass with him sometimes.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool. So for people in the chat that don't know Jordan Matthew Young, Austin musician, was on The Voice. Talk to us about how you connected with Jordan.
Oh, you know what? I met him when he first moved to Austin. We would have him out. My fiance plays guitar in my band, so we would do song swaps and like just fun gigs on Tuesdays at different bars and stuff. And we'd have him out and just doing song swaps with him. For years now. I don't even remember. It's been a while. It's been a while since I've known him. He's another Western slope kid. So yeah, he's from Utah, and then I'm from Colorado. So he hit me up right away and was just like, just ask me about the hiking around the area and stuff. So yeah.
Very cool. So you were born in Colorado and then you moved to Austin. So why did you pick Austin to move to?
I don't know. It seemed like a safe bet. My sister lived in Houston, and it was either here or Nashville.
Yeah.
And I was looking at both of them, and I was like, Austin feels. I'm kind of eclectic, and Austin seems pretty eclectic, so I think I'm going to fit in better in the Austin scene than I will the Nashville scene. So yeah.
So you said you've been there 9 years. What do you like most about living in Austin?
Oh my gosh, the food for sure. The food here is amazing. It's
Yeah.
yeah, you don't get that in a small town in Colorado. No, the food, the hiking here. Yeah, I live like 10 minutes from downtown, but I can still drive 10 minutes and get to a trail that feels like I'm out in the middle of nowhere. So like the nature here is pretty incredible. Um, yeah, I don't know. It's a special place for sure. There's just friendly people and yeah, I don't know.
So as far as food goes in Austin, because I went to Austin a couple of years ago, and everything that I had to eat, I had off of a food truck. It was so crazy because the food truck scene in Austin is next level. I had like a banh mi, I had a gyro, and then I had Thai food, and I was like, all of this is so good. But then I had brisket as well. So can you tell me a couple of your favorite places to eat in Austin?
Oh my gosh, Micklethwaite's. If you're gonna go to a food truck, that might be the best barbecue, right up there with like Franklin. Gosh, 888 for like Asian food. They kind of cover like the whole cuisine of different kinds of Asian food. Gosh, there's so many good ones. You gotta pop into Sagebrush. Sagebrush is cool if you're gonna go out, and they have a lot of food trucks there. It's in a little bar here in town, like a honky tonk dance hall.
Cool.
Yeah, it's pretty neat. Gosh, where else? There's so many good spots. My fiance is Peruvian, so we go to Lima Criolla a lot up here, and that's pretty good. That's Peruvian food. He and I actually used to run a food truck down on 7th and Trinity that was called Llamas. For we helped run it, and that was all Peruvian food, like cooked right there in the truck as soon as you ordered it.
Very cool.
Yeah, it was pretty neat. It was pretty neat.
Yeah. Well, wait, so a food truck. I think that's really awesome. What made you guys want to start a food truck together?
It was his friend that had it, and he was like, hey, I need somebody to kind of run it. And he kind of roped me in. I never thought I'd be working in a food truck, but he's just he's a really passionate cook. So he loves Peruvian food, being from Peru. So it was kind of like a little side passion project of his.
Awesome. Very cool. So talk to me about the first memories that you had in music. Like, was there a specific record or like something that your parents played when you were younger and it just like stuck in your head?
My mom used to play on this little black radio. She would put the antenna up, and she would play Ray Charles on there sometimes. It was just whatever was coming through the radio at the time. But whenever this specific radio station would come on every afternoon, it'd be Ray Charles and like Aretha Franklin, and like those were some fun house cleaning days.
Cool. And when was that point in your life where you were like, oh my gosh, I have to do music for the rest of my life?
I don't really know. Like, I just kind of like always wanted to ever since I was a kid. Like, I remember telling one of my friends, I was like, I'm going to be a singer when I grow up. And she was like, no, you're a terrible singer. You can't do that. It's like, no, I don't know. I think it was just always just in my head that I was going to be playing music. So there wasn't really like a plan B, I don't think.
You were just like, this is what I'm meant to do. I'm going to do it.
Yeah. I mean, it's changed over time. I came out to just be a bass player, and then as time went on, I enjoy songwriting more these days than I do playing bass. Almost, it's so I just kind of follow where the muse is leading me.
So let's talk about that songwriting, because you're right. You said you were a bassist, and then you were like, oh, I love songwriting. So let's talk about the journey of songwriting. When did songwriting start for you?
When I was a kid, I would write a bunch of songs, and like a teenager I'd write, but I kind of stopped and just like, I don't know, I just got busy with other stuff and it wasn't like a priority.
Yeah.
And it was kind of out of necessity. I was playing bass with people, but sometimes artists take time off, so like I needed to fill in space with like all the extra time that I suddenly had off. So I was like, I got a band together. That's how my fiance and I started hanging out. Actually, we put a band together because both of us were in the same situation, just kind of in between artists.
Yep.
And yeah, I don't know. We needed something to show bars so we could get booked, and I wrote a couple songs that were like, so one of them was okay. The other ones were like, not quite there, but like, you know, it was enough to like show bars to get booked at places, you know. But yeah, I don't know. That it just kind of stemmed from there. I was like, oh, I actually kind of like this. This is a fun way to be expressive, you know.
Yeah. So I guess talk about songwriting and how it's evolution, like the evolution of your songwriting process. So from like when you first started to where you are at now in the journey.
You know, I've done a lot of co-writes with people. I kind of approached songwriting the same way I did playing, where it's like, oh, you learn so much faster by doing it with people that are better than you.
Totally.
So I was just like, yeah, seeking out songwriters that were like, that I just thought were, you know, incredible songwriters. And I was just like, man, I'd love to work with them. And to my surprise, a lot of them were willing to do co-writes with me. And I don't know, that's kind of how I approached learning how to songwrite. And then nowadays it's, I feel like I've kind of got the formula down, and like, it's more just like experimenting. Like sometimes I'll, like when I first started writing songs, I liked to change it a lot, and I like to go back and forth. And I was like, oh, it has to be interesting. It has to keep me interested, and I have an attention span of a goldfish. So like, how do I keep myself interested? But the more I play live, and the more I really test out my songs on crowds. Like especially like if it's a dancing crowd, like, oh, did they stop moving? Like it's important for me to try and make people move. So it's like, so I take a lot of songs back to the workshop too once they're out. But yeah, sometimes I'll experiment. Like the last little bunch of songs I've written, I've tried to keep as simple as possible, just to see if I could make it interesting within simplicity. Yeah, I don't know.
I think some of the best songs are simple songs.
It's true, yeah. The vibe. It's about vibe sometimes. Yeah.
So they call you the queen of denim disco. Where did all this come from, queen of denim disco?
So my I was looking for an album name, and for one of my last EPs, and I had taken this picture on my GoPro, and I was showing it to my drummer. I was like, check it out, I think I got the artwork at least done. I don't know what I'm call it yet. And he looked at it and he goes, denim disco, because I had a denim jacket on and a disco ball, and I was like, oh my gosh, you're a genius. Like, yeah, so I just kind of adopted it. Like that's definitely a Doug Day quote right there.
Yeah, I love it because it's like denim disco. Like it's all encompassing. So do you love disco music?
I do. I love disco music. Yeah, it's fun. It's a lot of it's very bass riffy, but it keeps people dancing, so it keeps me occupied. And yeah.
I'm also a massive fan of disco music. So tell me a couple of your favorite maybe groups or songs.
I'm a huge fan of Donna Summer. Like she's just like the queen of disco herself, you know. But I got really into Rick James for a minute. Yeah, he has some crazy. I had no clue. I read his bio after I was into his music, and I was like, oh, it makes sense that like he would have to have a few screws loose to be that good, you know.
Yeah, Rick James is fun. Like, yeah, I know what you mean about Rick, because Rick's one of those guys, you listen to the song, you're like, whoa, and then you're like, then you hear his story and you're like, okay, I get it now.
Yeah, totally, totally.
So let's talk about the new song that came out, Can't Behave, April 1st. I love it. Let's talk a little bit more about the creative process and what the inspiration was behind this song.
You know, this one came out pretty quick. I wrote this one in like 10 or 15 minutes. Yeah, this song, I don't know, they had changed the laws with abortion here in Texas, and I was like, wow, that's wild. That's wild that's a thing. Like, it was just a surprise to me. And I was, especially coming from Colorado, that's like a very, very blue state. Like it's definitely a different culture sometimes.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. I was just, it was one of those things where I was like, oh, I could write a angry song, but like trying to like, I don't know, speak to more than just the anger. I guess I don't know how to describe this. Not doing a great job. I don't know. It's just trying to be as honest as possible about like, oh, we do need to protect our own rights here, and need to like speak up for ourselves, even if it's a little scary at the time. You know, like a lot of times bullies don't have the bite that they think they do. You know, so yeah. Anyways, yeah, that's that song story. So.
And I love that you took something that's very personal to a lot of women, because like there's so many areas in this country, right, that, I mean, we're in the year 2022, but it makes us feel like we're going back in society, right?
Yeah. It's pretty wild. Yeah, it was kind of crazy. They put that law into, and then like 2 days later, I delivered flowers to Sarah. I think it's I forget how to say her last name. It's like Windenheim or something like that. But she served. She was the first one to get abortion pushed through in Texas. She was a lawyer, and she served as like a counselor for the White House for a long time. So it was like really cool to like, I don't know, it was like within the same day that I wrote this song. So it was like, oh man, it's like, it just, yeah, I felt like I needed to put that one out specifically like soon, because it was the times. So.
Yeah, definitely. And times are changing, and I think it's really cool that you can write a song when something is going on and you're like, this is how I feel in this moment, space and time.
Yeah. It's not waiting a year to come out. Yeah, it's cool. It's really neat.
So talk to us about the writing behind all of that.
This one was one of those I wanted to keep simple, specifically because like I wanted to play it that night with the band. And I was like, all right, I gotta make this like as simple as possible. So I was like, all right, 3 chords. It does the same thing the whole time, and yeah, I don't know. It just kind of came out like I got 2 verses and a chorus, and I think I came back and wrote the 3rd chorus the next day, just because I think I ran out of time. I was going somewhere, but yeah, it was good though. Sometimes those breaks in between, it's good to let the brain rest in between verses sometimes.
Yeah, I'm really into the instrumentation in the song, because sometimes, like I said, some of the coolest songs ever have very few words. They're very simple songs.
It's true. Yeah, totally.
So do you feel like you take a song, it's simple, you perform it, and then maybe you add to it depending on like the vibe of the crowd?
Yeah. Oh, totally. Yeah. No, I'll throw curveballs sometimes with the guys, sometimes intentionally, sometimes not intentionally.
Right.
Yeah. but no, we play around a bunch. I have a keyboard player and a guitar player most of the time. Sometimes we play as a 3-piece, but most of the time it's a 4-piece, and they can kind of play off of each other. And yeah, I don't know. There's a lot of give and take between the two that makes a really neat contrast.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that's so cool in bands because you're playing and you're singing, and then like the other people in your band kind of like vibe off of you. And it's just like when you know each other well enough, you're like, oh, I didn't know you were gonna go there, but I love that.
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
So, what do you want fans to take away from this song?
Um, I don't know. I think just being okay with speaking their truth, and then also understanding that like their truths aren't necessarily universal because our truths are based off of our experiences. So that's a very big mouthful, but yeah, that's the basic wrap up of it.
Definitely. So, what musicians inspire you?
You know, I grew up in a pretty religious household, so my first, like, it was all Christian music pretty much, minus the little black radio that would come on in the kitchen every once in a while.
Yeah.
But yeah, you know, I found a little burned disc of Nora Jones when I was like 12, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is like blowing my mind right now. Like, yeah, she's definitely been a huge influence on me, just because it was just like I think I wore that CD out for sure. Who else? No Doubt's in there for sure. Dolly Parton, Shania Twain is for sure in there. Yeah, I used to do all kinds of dances with my friends to her songs when I was a kid. So it's kind of crazy, like when I go back and listen to these things, because I don't realize that I have picked out things from them until I go back and I'm like, oh, that's where I got that from. It's like, yeah, or at least got that idea from, at least, you know.
And yeah. Wait, I don't know if you heard, but she was at Coachella over the weekend with Harry Styles.
No, really?
Yeah, Harry Styles brought her out. She was in the sequin dress, and they sang 2 songs together.
That's cool.
How amazing, right?
That's awesome. Yeah,
because I feel like Shania used to be everywhere back in the day, right? And it's like, when was the last time we heard from her?
Yeah, I know she did one song with Orville Peck, like maybe 2 years ago now. It's been a while, but yeah, that was the last time. I was like, oh my gosh, it's her.
Yeah, I mean, she is so incredible, and I'm so happy. I love when people collab, like, from different genres, right? You take, like, a pop dude like Harry Styles, and then you take a country icon like Shania Twain, and then it's like, oh, look at our audiences coming together and appreciating the genre of music.
Yeah. No, totally.
Mm-hmm.
It brings...
Oh, yeah, it's really cool. Who would you most like to collaborate with?
Oh my gosh. That is such a hard question. You know, this is going to be a really nerdy answer that'll not... I think if they're into songwriting, then I would love to write a song with Dean Dillon. That would be cool. Or Mark James would be amazing to write a song with. That would be incredible. Yeah. Either one of those guys would be pretty cool. Yeah, that's Mark James. He wrote. Do you know who he is?
Mark James. No, but I know Joe James.
Joe James, yeah. So Mark James wrote like Suspicious Minds and like Hooked on a Feeling.
Oh,
like all these crazy hits, but like he's just like this songwriter that like I watched him get an award at the Texas Musicians Heritage Awards.
Yeah.
And he just like rolled in with his sunglasses on, took his award, like pieced out. It took like 15 minutes for them to get through all of his hits that he had written though, and I was just like, this guy is like the god of songwriting. This is incredible. This is like, yeah. But yeah, no, that one of those guys would be pretty cool to write with.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because then the collaboration, like you write, they write, you guys like talk about things.
Yeah. That'd be really cool.
Definitely. So I want to talk about live shows because you're always out and about doing your thing on the stage. Do you have any favorite venues that you enjoy playing at?
Sagebrush.
Yeah.
That might be my favorite right now. I don't know. I love Sagebrush. Sagebrush, there's a Sea Boys is fun, Continental Club, all that kind of South Congress areas has some great clubs.
Mm-hmm.
I've gotten to play the Moody was pretty cool. That was pretty cool to play, but those gigs don't pop up as often as the other ones do.
Yeah.
Let's see. I don't know. There's so many great venues here in town. Long Play East.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it really depends. Hotspot's pretty cool if you're up north.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I don't know. There's Mucky Duck over in Houston. There's tons of great spots out here in Texas.
Mm-hmm. Now, if you weren't playing a gig and you said, I want to go out and hear some live music in Austin, where would you want to go?
I go to Whitehorse a lot to listen to music. Whitehorse or Continental Club, Sagebrush. Yeah, all those South Congress spots. It's on my way home too. So, but yeah, I don't know. I'll look up bands too and go to I'll go to Mohawk every once in a while down in the Red River District or Cheer Up Charlie's has some really cool shows and their light shows are pretty incredible out there. Yeah, especially if you're in the like more pop genre. That's like I don't know. There's tons of great spots and there's always new ones popping up too. So.
Yeah. That's the cool thing with Austin is there's music everywhere and there's so many cool venues that you can go and appreciate the music.
Yeah, totally. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm. So for people that are watching this right now that have never experienced seeing you live, what can they expect at a Ruby Dice show?
It's gonna be sparkly, that's for sure. I play bass and sing, and then I have keys and guitar and drums, and we play like a mix of country and disco and whatever else I've kind of just tried to mesh together and call it country disco at the end of the day. It's a fun time. We try to keep people dancing, so that's the goal.
Love it so much. So what's one of your favorite songs to perform and why?
Gosh, I don't know. There's so many. The new ones are always the most fun to perform because they're new. It's like you'll never beat the attention from a new love. I don't know. Can't Behave's fun just because it is simple. Gosh, I'm trying to think. I wrote this new one called True Love's Overrated. That one's been really fun to play lately.
Yeah.
Wild Ones is pretty fun to play. Like that one always gets the crowd going. That's always been a song that surprised me because I didn't like it when I first wrote it, and I showed it to somebody and I was like, I don't know what I think about it. Ugh. And they're like, dude, just put it out. You're fine.
Wait, why didn't you like the song?
I don't know. It was just like it didn't change enough for me at the time. That was one of my favorite. That was the only song at the time that I hadn't written with all kinds of weird changes and movements in it, and so oops, sorry.
Yeah, no worries. But you enjoy playing it now?
I do. Yeah, I do. Yeah, and I've changed it up a little bit just rhythmically, but like I don't think anybody else would notice. It's more for me.
Yeah. So talk to me about the artists and genres of music that you listen to. What do you do on your time off?
I listen to a lot of different kinds of stuff. There was a lot of bluegrass that I kind of grew up on. Yeah, so I love all that like Dan Tisdale and like Alison Krauss stuff, Gillian Welsh. I love folk artists as well. Like I've gotten to meet some great Texas artists, like Ray Wiley Hubbard's. He's a good one to listen to. I don't know. And then I'm all over the place. I love to listen to Orville Peck. Man, I'll even listen to metal if it's good. Yeah, I'm kind of I go out there. Yeah, I don't know. I was in a Gaga phase a couple weeks ago for a minute. That was, I don't know. It's just whatever's what I kind of like just play Russian roulette with the Spotify and just kind of see what I land on sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's important to have a diverse taste in music because you never know where you could hear something. You might hear a line in a song and then all of a sudden you're like, oh, I'm very inspired right now just from that one line.
Yeah. Oh, totally. Yeah, absolutely. Or different melodies like if you're listening to blues, you're gonna be playing a lot of the same same melodies, so it's like yeah, expand your mind.
Yeah, and I love that your music incorporates all these different genres of music. Like it's not just like, oh, your country, oh, your disco, your blues. Like there's so many elements to your music, which is so cool.
Thank you. Yeah, I I kept having people ask me what I was, and I was like, I have no clue. Like I'm just no clue what I could classify it as, and so I just tried to make it as confusing as possible.
Because you're the queen of denim disco, so
yeah,
that's your genre.
It's its own thing. Yeah.
So like whatever comes out, it comes out.
Yeah.
What's the best advice you've ever been given?
Oh gosh. You're gonna be ignored at more gigs than you're gonna be paid attention to. It's very true. That was a very true piece of advice right there. Or I guess that's not advice. That's just a forewarning. I don't know. I guess the best piece of advice would be just like, no matter what situation you're in, even if it looks like, not the best situation, like you can still learn from it. And like, yeah, I've played a lot of gigs with pickup bands where it's like, you're just kind of walking in, you're meeting these people for the first time, and you're setting up on stage and like hoping you got the songs down in the 30 minutes you had to listen to them before the gig. Sometimes they'd be great and like they'd be amazing musicians and everybody could vibe and like, just shout chords out to each other and get through the night. Because a lot of time it would be like they picked up a gig that day or something. It'd just be friends. There would be those nights, but there would be other nights where it would just be like, whoa, this is a hard night where it's just not vibing at all musically. And and it takes a while sometimes. You get your core musicians that you really can communicate with, and sometimes it just doesn't work with people. Taking those nights, the nights that you'd normally like consider a failure, and like those I've always learned the most from, because it's like, oh, it's a different rhythm that they're playing, or they're playing the one on the snare instead of or whatever, just finding the rhythm in there somewhere.
Yeah, I think it's got to be hard to sit in with all these different types of bands, right? Because then it's kind of like, are we vibing? Are we not? Like,
yeah, it's pretty wild, man. One time I showed up and the guy told me it was like a New Orleans like funk gig, and I showed up and he was like, change of plans. I hired an accordion player. We're playing Tejano music tonight, and I was like, do I look like I play Tejano, man? What do you think? It was like it didn't go so well. I'm not gonna lie. Like I did not know how to play Tejano that night. But yeah, no, I had a buddy come sit in for a while and kind of bail me out for a minute. It was all good, all good.
Yeah, because it's kind of like you're just thrown in this like musical collaboration, and you're like, I hope this goes well, but
yeah,
rock out with it, right?
Yeah, you just smile and nod, and people may or may not notice if you're messing up.
What does success mean to you?
I don't know. Like, success would be having the freedom to just write. That would, like, to financially have the freedom to just write. That would be that would be incredible. But that's yeah, just keep writing. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. It's I guess that's like for me, like the main goal I'd like to put out there for myself. So
you just want to be a songwriter and just write your life away.
absolutely, yeah. I love performing, and like I would still perform and like, because it's important when you're writing to like have that relationship with a live crowd. But like yeah, I don't know. It's yeah, it would be a blast to be able to write for other people too. Like just be able to try to think outside of the way you write songs. You know, that's I do that sometimes for friends. I'll like think of what they would sound like on something and try to write something from their perspective. Yeah, I don't know. It's a fun exercises.
Yeah, I think that's really important as a songwriter, because I feel like a lot of songwriters are like, okay, this is me, this is how I feel. But it's like, write it from a different perspective, or write it with maybe a specific artist in mind. And then you're kind of like, oh yeah, like for instance, you said No Doubt. So maybe you write it and you're like, oh, this No Doubt song from back in the day, I'm going to write it with like this punk, you know, Gwen Stefani kind of vibe.
Yeah, totally.
And then it's a whole new life.
Yeah.
So talk to me about what's coming up for you in the next couple months. Do you have any live shows, collaborations, singles? What's happening with you?
Right now, I have a show coming up in Laredo, Texas, in June, and then yeah, what else is coming up show wise? Not a ton show wise. I'm kind of working on an album right now, so been taking time in the studio, and we've also been pushing my fiance's band a little bit in the meantime, to like we trade out. It's how we keep our band employed when one of us is like taking a break. So, yeah, it's just double dipping. It's fine.
No, I think it's got to be very cool to be in a relationship with someone who's also a musician. So what is that like for the both of you, like being very creative and musical?
It's great. Yeah, it really is great. Yeah, I don't know. It's there's definitely gives and takes to like working with your partner. It's awesome sometimes, and then other times it's just like, oh my gosh, you're here all the time. But no, we get along really well, and no, I don't know. It's great. I've played in bands with couples before where it wasn't so great, and yeah, I don't know. It's I lucked out on that end. So.
And I feel like the creativity has got to be so amazing, because like you're very creative, he's very creative, you're playing. Like, is there always music going on in the household?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he plays almost more than I do. He's he's always fiddling with something on his guitar, and
Awesome. So for the beautiful people watching right now that say, hey, where can I find Ruby? Plug all of your social media channels.
So if you want to go to my website and like find t-shirts, and actually the t-shirts aren't up yet, but they will be by the end of the week. That's just rubydice.com. And then Instagram is just at rubydice. You're watching it right now. Facebook is Ruby Dice. It's pretty easy to just Google search and Ruby Dice, and you'll find it. RUBYDICE, like your Roma. Yeah. Even on TikTok, yeah, it's just at Ruby Dice, I believe.
Yeah. So you're pretty much everywhere.
Yeah, pretty much everywhere. Yeah.
Awesome. And for people right now that say, hey, I want to support Ruby on her musical journey, what do you recommend that they do?
You know what? We're getting ready to launch a Patreon in the next couple of weeks here. But there's always Venmo, or like coming to shows. If you're in Austin, is a huge thing. Or I don't know, just but buying merch always helps. And honestly, just like liking posts, that really helps artists. It's like, yeah, interaction with stuff is like, that's a huge help for artists as well. I feel weird saying that. That's like,
don't feel weird. I always ask people this question because I feel like musicians like don't ask for that, but I think it's so important because as people watching this, your fans, they want to like your stuff. They want to add music to playlists. They want to buy your merch, and I think it's so important to like support the musicians that you love.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. It's an interesting craft. It's like it's an expensive job.
Yeah, like there's so much like studio time and performing and like equipment and this and that, and it's like there's so much that people don't realize that goes into being a musician. And then like maybe you're juggling a couple different jobs, right? And then all the money you make from your job goes into the music, and it's like, you know, it's just like such a crazy thing for an independent musician.
Yeah, it really is. It really is. Yeah, it's a very like Bukowskian lifestyle.
Yeah. But definitely I think streaming the music, buying the merch, going to shows, sharing the music with your friends, like say like, hey, Ruby just came out with this single, it's awesome, add it to your playlist. The thing is with playlists is like when you add stuff to playlists, you get alerted as the artist.
Yeah, we do, yeah.
And then when you sign into your Spotify, you're like, oh, someone's listening to my song. Like you get alerted. So cool.
Yeah, no, it's really cool. It tells you like you can log in and it'll tell you like if somebody's listening to it, like in what country they're in. And like, yeah, it's pretty neat. It's pretty like,
you're like, oh my gosh, someone's listening to my music right now.
Yeah, in Spain. How random is that? Yeah. It's crazy.
I love it. So, and that's the cool thing about Spotify, because back in the day when we had CDs, it was like you get a CD at a show and then you just like put it in your CD player. But now with like the evolution of streaming services and just saying like, oh my gosh, someone on the other side of the world is listening to my song right now. Like that's the coolest.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh yeah. I have a friend, my buddy Travis, that he mostly does like he's kind of stopped doing live streaming shows or live shows and just went to live streaming. Yeah. And yeah, he's just like, yeah, it's my Spain audience that pays all my bills. And I was like, yeah, that's crazy. That's wild.
I think that's crazy because some people are like, yeah, I've had people on this show and they're like, if we go live at a certain time, my people are overseas and they're asleep. So like, I want to make sure that like my people overseas can see me live and in the moment. I'm like, oh, that's very interesting.
Yeah, that's so cool.
Right?
Yeah.
Like having an international presence, because like, have you toured internationally before?
To Ireland, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Did you love it?
Yeah, it was beautiful. Beautiful.
Yeah, and I feel like international crowds, like the energy overseas, like they are diehard music fans.
Oh yeah, it's different. It's different over there for sure. Mm-hmm. It's yeah. Yeah, I don't know. That's pretty cool.
That's
Yeah, I need to go over there and check it out. I've had a couple friends move over there. They moved over there during the pandemic, which was
oh
a
wow.
very weird choice. But like, yeah, they're back to playing, and I mean, it seems like he was like, yeah, it's about the same cost of living as like living in Austin. I was like, that's so cool, and like,
Yeah.
they really really love music out there. So it's yeah, I don't know. I need to check it out.
I think you should, because like you can go visit them, but then also schedule some tour dates. So it's like you hang out with them and then you do some tour dates, and it's so easy to travel over there. Like you're on a train and like within 2 hours you're in another country. Like it's so awesome.
Yeah, the countries are like states.
Yeah, it's so awesome. So that's all the questions I have for you this evening, Ruby. But guys, don't go anywhere. Ruby is going to perform. Take it away.
Awesome. Let's do Can't Behave.
Awesome.
Better watch your back, girl. There's monsters in the dark. I know you think you're tough, girl. Good ones are hard to tell apart. They tell you to be quiet, smile through the pain. Don't you dare be defiant. This world is a man's game. I can't behave, can't behave, can't behave, can't behave like a good girl. I can't behave, can't behave, can't behave, can't behave like a good girl. I'm a survivor, not without a fight. And I can't be nicer, trying to take away my rights. I can't behave, can't behave, can't behave, can't behave like a good girl. I can't behave, can't behave, can't behave, can't behave like a good girl. Can't behave, can't behave, can't behave. I can't behave, can't behave, can't behave. I can't behave, can't behave, can't behave, can't behave like a good girl. I can't behave, can't behave, can't behave, can't behave like a good girl.
Woo!
Thank you.
Thank you. And guys, that was Can't Behave. It came out April 1st. It hasn't even been a month.
I know, it's brand new, brand new.
Yes. How has it been the past couple of weeks since you've released it?
You know what? I actually haven't looked at my analytics. I got a new phone and I haven't downloaded that app yet. So I need to go look at my analytics or whatever the not analytics, whatever they call it.
Yeah, like the insights, like to
Insights. That's the one. That's the one.
Awesome. And what's your next song?
All right. Let's do Whiskey and Gin. All right. Cool. Head's aching, body's spinning, and I've been drinking again. Swore I wouldn't, swore I couldn't get this way. Not again. But the night's calling to me, and I can't seem to break free of whiskey and gin. Liquor's pouring, the dancers dancing, and I'm just singing the same old tunes. I take another, I lose time, I lose myself into the glass. But the night's calling to me, and I can't seem to break free of whiskey and gin. Why you wanna be so sad? You just drink and you laugh away. I'm a cigarette living kerosene. Travel far and wide, I've seen the world, I've seen a blur pass me by. Friends with strangers, and I've left lovers far behind, no longer mine. But the night's calling to me, and I can't seem to break free of whiskey and gin. Why you wanna be so sad? You just drink and you laugh away. I'm a cigarette living kerosene.
Thank you, Ruby.
Thank you.
That was beautiful. And thank you so much for sharing your music on my show.
Oh, thank you for having me.
Of course, of course. Do you have some time for some questions?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Awesome. So guys, in the chat right now, and you have questions for Ruby, please feel free to put them in the comments section below. Do you have any bucket list venues that you want to perform at?
Ooh, I mean, the Grand Ole Opry would be cool.
Yeah,
sure. That'd be really cool. Where else? I don't know. There's a, I don't know. There's a lot I could name off, but that's definitely my top one.
What's your favorite music venue?
In town. My favorite music venue, Continental Club, just because it's such a good vibe.
Yeah. Let me see what else. Who was your favorite act performing at Coachella?
Dude, I'm not gonna lie, I didn't look at the lineup all that much this year. I was so busy this year that I saw it and I was like, oh, that's dope, and I kind of head nodded it and moved on.
Maybe Shania Twain? Maybe?
Shania Twain, I mean, if she was there, probably she'd be up there for sure. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know who all played, so I can't give you an honest answer to that.
Well, she wasn't supposed to play, but Harry Styles just brought her out. It was just like, surprise!
Guess what? It's Shania Twain. That's awesome.
What instrument would you like to learn next?
So I've been working on guitar a little bit more. I'm normally a bass player, so still perfecting that. And then I've been slowly chipping away at keys, so it's getting there. But the hand dexterity is they're a little slow still. See if there's any more questions. Oh, I don't know how to do that.
Yeah, sometimes the scrolling thing is just a little.
Yeah. Cool. That might be all the questions.
Do you want to tell us a little sneak peek about what's happening with the new album?
I think I don't know if I want to tell the name of it yet.
You don't have to. Just want to maybe say like just a little bit of a sneak peek of anything.
It's I don't know. I have quite the idea for an album put together, but I'm not sure how much. I can tell you that that True Love's Overrated is gonna go on it. I've had a few people asking for that one to be recorded lately. I posted a little video of it, and they're like, "Oh yeah." Yep. So that one will be on there. I don't know if I want to give the theme of the album away yet.
You don't have. Yeah. I just like to do like a sneak peek because then for the people watching, they're like, "Oh my gosh, we have like the exclusive."
Yeah, totally. Yeah, that one will be on there. Shoot, I'm trying to think. Yeah, it's definitely gonna be like an album, kind of as like a coming out of my hometown kind of album. Like I don't know. It's yeah. I don't want to say too much.
But stay tuned, guys, because the album is coming soon.
Yeah, it'll be here soon. So.
Awesome. Do you have any final words for the room, Ruby?
Oh my gosh. I don't know. I hope everybody that's watching out there is having a lovely day, and if you haven't, have a lovely evening. I don't know. I just thank you for having me. This has been a blast.
Yes. Thanks so much for coming on the show and sharing your musical journey and your music with my audience. And guys, if you're in the Austin area, Ruby's always doing a show. So please give her a follow, stream the music, put it on your Spotify playlist, share the music. What else can they do, Ruby?
I mean, yeah, all that sounds good. All that's good. Yeah. All of that.
Love it. So guys, if you don't already, please make sure to follow Ruby. And if you don't already, please make sure to follow me. I'm Ashley Live. This is Vibin with Ashley Live. And I have incredible musicians like Ruby on my show all the time. Guys, be safe, support good music, buy merch, and tell a friend about a musician that you love.
Awesome.
Thanks so much for joining us, guys. Have a great night. Bye, Ruby.